Good morning, guys. It is March 18th, and here is your new lesson. We're moving away from graphs right now. I'm not going to be teaching you the tangent and cotangent graph online because I just think it's a better face-to-face lesson. I'm going to introduce you to what are called trigonometric identities. Now, with the trig identities, oh, by the way, like my little whiteboard, okay, because I'm in my house. Okay, in the background you can see that's my kitchen / dining room. I'm over here, and I'm going to try it this way, see if it works. So just bear with me. Thank you to everyone who submitted their homework. I don't know if I sent it out in your remind, but I'm going to want the homework by 9 a.m. Wait, here's my coffee. I'm going to want the homework by 9 a.m. I don't think you're getting up the next day and doing your homework. I know you're doing it probably well into midnight, and I think 9 a.m. is an okay time to tell you that I want the homework by. Okay, so I want to move forward. I'm going to introduce you to some trig identities. I'm going to pause the tape right here, and I'm going to fill the board with the trig identities I need you to learn, and then I'll explain why. Okay, guys, I'm back. All right, so I'm going to introduce you to the first set of identities that you need to know. The first set are these right here. These are called reciprocal identities. And you basically know this. You know that sine and cosecant are each other's reciprocals. We knew that the sine of theta, that's the symbol for theta, that's the angle. So if the sine of the angle was 3/5, the cosecant was 5/3. A reciprocal means it's 1 over it. Okay, so sine is cosecant, and in the other way, cosecant is sine. Cosine of theta is 1 over secant. Secant is 1 over cosine. Okay, tangent is 1 over cotangent. Cotangent is 1 over tangent. All right, these are called reciprocal identities. The other identities that are really important are the quotient identities. I'm trying to get it into the frame. I think it's in there right now. Okay, the quotient identities. You know, I told you this from day one. This is going to come big in your life. Tangent is sine over cosine. You know that. And since tangent and cotangent are reciprocals, if tangent is sine over cosine, cotangent is cosine over sine. These are very important, okay? I need you to copy these down, put them in your notebook. I'm going to give you 3 other identities that are equally as important. So I want you guys to pause the tape right here as I clean this board and give you the next set. Okay, guys, I'm back. All right. Actually, your video probably didn't stop, but you didn't realize that I took a time to go get stuff. I want to get different color markers. Okay, so what I want to talk to you about right now is these. These are called Pythagorean identities. These are going to be really big in your life, okay? We have 3. We have sine squared plus cosine squared theta equals 1. We have tangent squared theta plus 1 equals secant squared theta. And we have 1 plus cotangent squared theta equals cosecant squared theta. Now, there are 3 of them. Of these 3, we can manipulate the equations and make other ones. For example, I'm going to take the first equation, sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1. I'm going to move cosine squared to the other sign. That would leave me to the other side. That would leave me with sine squared theta. If this moves to the other side, is now equals 1 minus cosine squared theta. And go back to the original. Instead of moving the cosine, I could have moved the sine. So the other equation, if I move sine to the other side, is cosine squared theta equals 1 minus sine squared theta. So just from this one identity, I get 2 more. Same thing here. Tan squared theta plus 1 is secant squared theta. Well, I can move 1 to the other side and be left with tan squared theta equals secant squared theta minus 1. Or go back to the original, I'll move tan to the other side. So 1 is equal to tan squared theta minus, oh wait, I wrote that backwards, sorry. I lost my train of thought. If I move tan to the other side, I'm left with secant squared theta minus tan squared theta. Remember, it's subtraction, so the order is going to count. Same thing with this one. 1 plus cotan, actually I could have wrote that the other way, cotangent squared plus 1, but I can move the 1 to the other side and be left with cotangent squared theta is equal to cosecant, that's an S, squared theta minus 1, or instead of moving the 1, I could move the cotangent, so I'm left with 1 equals cosecant squared theta minus cotan squared theta. Okay, so I want you to be aware that there are basically 3 Pythagorean identities that are important in your world, but of those 3, you can make 2 for each one. So technically there's 9. Okay, now if we were in the classroom right now, I'd say, guys, these need to be memorized because you're going to need to use them. Well, I still will say that. However, I know that I'm not standing there watching you when I give you a quiz and test. You might have them right next to you, but that's just, defeating the purpose, guys. So yeah, this stuff needs to be memorized. Not right now. Okay, right now you can use it. In fact, what I am going to be sending to you as soon as I really figure out how to load files onto Teams, trust me, this is a learning curve and I'm doing my best. But I'm going to be sending you this sheet. This is full, chock full of all formulas and identities. Right now, I just explained to you, and I know you can't see it from where you are, but I explained to you 1, 2, and 3. We didn't even get to these. I don't know if we're going to. Half of them we're not, but this is important. Maybe I'll just type this up a little smaller and send it to you, because what else am I doing? I'm sitting home. Okay, so Mrs. Opdyke, why are you showing me all this stuff? Well, again, I'm going to pause the video, erase all this. Make sure you have this stuff copied down next to you so I could show you how we're going to use these problems. So let me pause the video. Okay, guys, so here are the directions. Rewrite as a single function. Okay, this is going to seem very odd or strange to a lot of you, but you're just going to have to practice. The more you practice, the more you get used to doing stuff like this. Okay, so right now I have secant theta sine theta. Okay, remember you have to write the theta. That's important. That's the angle. And I want to rewrite this as a single function. So what I'm going to use, based on the identities that I gave to you, and I don't have them right here for you to see, but you should have copied them by now. I know secant technically is 1 over cosine of theta, right? There, it's each other's reciprocal. Now, when you have two things butt up against each other like that, that implies multiplication. So multiply by sine theta. Well, I'll throw this over 1 because I'm multiplying fractions. 1 times sine is sine over cosine times 1 is cosine. And we know that sine over cosine really means tangent. So I was able to take this expression, secant theta sine theta, and rewrite it as simply tangent of theta. And that's what we're going to be doing. And if you're a person who likes puzzles, you're going to really love these problems. I'll show you another one. I'll show you a fairly simple one. If I gave you something like this, 1 minus cosine squared theta, okay? And I want you to rewrite that as a single function. If you look back on the Pythagorean identities that I just gave to you, and I told you you really should copy them down to do this because I don't have a big board to do this with you right now, you can see that based on the first Pythagorean identity that I gave you, which is the most important, that sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1, that you were able to bring cosine squared to the other side, and this simplifies down to sine squared theta. Okay, that was just a given. Okay, that was just basically one of the identities. Okay, when I tell you this is going to be big in your life, it's going to be big in your life. I hope everybody's doing okay, staying at home, not fighting with anybody, getting along with your parents, stuff like that. We're just having a grand old time in the Opdyke household. And I know my kids are listening downstairs saying, is she crazy? Okay. Sine theta times cotan theta. All right. Sine is just sine. There's nothing you can do with it. Usually you don't change things back to reciprocals, okay? You're trying to get everything in terms of sine and cosine. Cotangent, however, so I'll leave sine the way it is. And I'm going to change cotangent to be cosine over sine. Okay, and again, you're multiplying two things. If you want, you could change this to a fraction by throwing it over 1. Look what happens. When you multiply and your numerator and your denominator are the same, they cancel out. And you're just left with cosine theta. Okay, I'm just going to do 1 or 2 more, and then I'm going to send you a sheet to do. I know this is going to be foreign to a lot of you. I just ask that you try your best. And this is the frustrating thing about teaching identities, okay, and simplifying them. There's no one way where I could tell you to do it. I can't tell you always do it this way because it's not always going to work out. They're going to get harder, but for our purposes, I'm not going to make them too hard because I'm not there to help you through it. I'm only here on the video. Sorry, I needed more coffee. Okay, so I want to show you this. And you have to understand you're doing math to all of these. So I am going to do cosecant times, that's not cosecant. Maybe I need more coffee. Secant theta, 1 minus cosine squared theta. Okay, so this is one of those situations where there's no right way or wrong way to start it, okay, and it only gets easier with more practice. Now, I know at this point, bells should be going off, okay? I've mentioned this more than once, that 1 minus cosine squared theta is really sine squared theta. It's built off that first Pythagorean identity that I showed you, and it is the most important. So I am going to change this right now to sine squared theta. Please don't forget the theta symbol. It is an angle. You need to have it. If you don't want to use that theta symbol, use X. I don't care. In fact, usually I start using X because after a while I get tongue twisted by saying theta so often. Okay, I actually wrote cosecant, but I'm going to change cosecant to 1 over sine theta. Okay, based on the reciprocal identities, cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. I'm going to multiply that by sine squared theta over 1. Very nicely, this cancels out with one of these. There's 2, it's squared. So my final answer is going to be sine theta. Okay, so basically, what are we doing in this lesson? All right, so let's just recap it, and then I'm going to give you some problems to work on your own. Okay, and again, thank you so much for all those of you who have been uploading your homework. Remember, upload it to Teams. That's what we're using it. I expect you to do it on paper and then take a picture, scan it, and send it back to me. I don't expect you to do it on the computer. I can't even do that. Bear with me with everything. I am learning how to use everything. If anything, what's going to come out of this is I'm going to be more tech savvy. Okay, so first of all, we need to, that's a 1. Learn the identities. Which, let's be honest, you know the reciprocal identities and you know the quotient identities. It's still over here. Tangent is sine over cosine. Obviously, cotangent be cosine over sine. The only ones that are new are the Pythagorean identities. Okay? There's a way for me to show you how to prove them. I'm not going to show you that now because we're just cutting all the fat. I'm just trimming it. So you need to learn the identities. Then what you're going to do is rewrite in terms of sine and cosine. That's going to be your best bet, to turn everything to sine and cosine. Don't change them to secant or cosecant. That's just going to take 2 steps back. And then you're going to simplify using math principles. Can you see down here? Yeah, math principles. Okay, so I'm going to end this video telling you guys I love you. Stay strong. I miss all of you. Yes, each and every one of you. How strange is that? I will speak to you soon. Reach out to me on Remind or through Teams if you have any questions. Remember, I am on the computer definitely between 10 and 2. Anything after 2, I will get back to you as soon as I can. Anything after 9 o'clock at night, you know I'm sleeping, so don't even bother. All right, love you guys. Bye.